right. Let's I'm gonna change what I'm doing here. Painting and hanging out. Yep, that's true. And what are we going? Where are we painting? We're going to be painting some Warhammer. Warhammer 40K. Warhammer 40K. That's my Warhammer song. Warhammer 40K. See, I got that. This is like a grandpa. See, I'm a grandpa now, so now I have one of these. Right? All right, you guys thought you were logging on to hear me talk about 40K and do a little painting, but it turns out this is a man's grooming channel. And I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes combing my beard. So I did manage to get some hills. Now I have to go back and do this, but the reason I do it the way I do is now that this is dry, I can actually hold this and do that and then sit it. I mean, part of the objective is not to make a gigantic mess, even though I often do. So we're working again on Indominus Necrons. It is a simple, basically 3-color paint scheme using natural steel from Vallejo, weapons brass from Army Painter, and scorpion green from Vallejo Game Color. I could get all kinds of crazy with this stuff and start doing highlights and all kinds of color blends and that. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. However, I'm just trying to throw an army together on a table that's going to look good. And I feel like this is the fastest, most expedient way to do that. These figures are for my brother, who's been in and out of the hospital a lot, so he hasn't really been able to help me out with his army as much as he normally wouldn't do. So this has pretty much fallen to me. And I don't mind, honestly. I mean, sure, it's time I probably could be spending knocking out my own projects, but painting's painting, and these new Necrons are pretty cool. So, you know, there you go. So like I said, you can get a lot done on a 40K figure with a simple 3-color scheme. And I'm counting the metallics as colors in this regard. I think some figures people go a little overboard. If you use too many colors, then the figure just starts looking kind of maybe overly busy. So, like they always say in the army, man, keep it simple, stupid. Now they probably have to say keep it simple, soldier, because somebody throw a card up at them. I don't know if that's true. So the whole deal is just to pick out a couple of little areas so that you got a nice contrast. Will these guys look great if somebody puts them under a magnifying glass? Maybe not. But will they look awesome at 5 feet or 3 feet or whatever on a table full of terrain? My hope is absolutely. And that's really what we're going for here. If you're trying to win a Golden Demon Award, then watching me fumble around with these figures and ramble about gaming stuff is you might be just wasting your time. However, there are some great channels on YouTube that could help you out with that. You know, Squidmar and bolt and brush and bolt gun. Even Goobertown Painting, he's really good, I think. And of course, in my local area, we've got some amazing painters. So, but this guy, you know, he's coming along, right? Now, one thing I am going to do right now, because I'm not really happy with the metal, is I'm going to go ahead and grab some of my natural steel. And even though I always say that I don't worry with highlights too much, this guy definitely needs some highlights. He just doesn't look right, and I think it's because this is one of the figures. Let me put them side by side. This figure was painted silver with Army Painter and then given a wash. This painter was primed black, or this figure, and then dry brushed natural steel. And I like this better. Now, when they're all dry, I'll give a wash, you know, to bring out a little detail. I will not use a Nuln Oil on these guys. These guys will probably get sepia on the gold so that you keep that warm tone and get a little bit of shadings to draw out some detail. But okay, is this it? No, that's gunmetal. Where is it? I know it's got to be right here in front of me, because I was using it. All right, so we've got German gray, German black brown, olive green, middle stone, Templar blue. That's what I use for my Mordians. Templar blue. Is this it? No, that's more German gray. Oh, it's literally right in front of me. The issue, or one of the things I have going on with me, is I'll go to my local paint store and then I'll forget exactly how much or whatever paints I have. And so I'll be like, well, I'm already here and I've got a little bit of money I can spend. And I know for a fact that I love this paint color and I use it a lot. For example, the German gray, which is a really, really dark gray. And I generally use that in place of black. Now, I think it just looks better. And so then I'll buy it. I'll be like, well, you know. And over the course of months, if you do that enough, then you end up like me and you have 4 unopened pots of German gray and 3 pots of German filled gray, and then like, anyway, you get what I'm saying. At some point I need to do an inventory, but I know, and anyone that knows me pretty well knows that's never going to happen, because I am not really into wasting too much of my time. Not that it would be a waste, but I would consider it a waste. Organizing, when I could be using that time actually putting paint on miniatures. So yeah, see, this is coming out a lot shinier. This is a lot better. That original guy, he was looking just a little too on metallic, just a little too gray. And my brother specifically requested that these guys, you know, be kind of a metallic color. If they were my army, I honestly might have went with a red, like a really dark red, and then highlights on that. You know, just something out there. Another army I saw painted up that looked really good was Necrons in bone white, like Ushabti bone mostly, and then with gold trim and stuff like that. Probably not an easy paint scheme to paint, but the test model I saw looked really good. It was like, that's pretty nice. So anyway, these bases, by the way, if you're looking at them, you're thinking they're pretty simple. They are simple, but they're not done. They're going to get a couple tufts, a couple of rocks will end up being glued on. I've got a whole bits box full of skulls and helmets and stuff. Um, what you're seeing on these bases, that is just the very most basic product that I'm going with, just to, you know, to get it somewhat in that neighborhood. But this is with the new, and as you can see, that natural still has almost a blue tinge to it, which I find really, really pleasing, you know, to look at. So I'm going to set these guys over here. All right, I've got a lot of things I could be doing, so let's focus in. I've got a squad of 9 Mordians in front of me, and they need white, and they need the flesh done, and maybe a few details to neaten them up, places I messed up. And if I can knock that out, I need to not say and between sentences, you know, you end up with run on. If I get that knocked out, then I can proudly say, even though I think I'm still way behind on what I wanted to get done, that I would have at least one squad of Mordians completely done. Next up, I've got this. This is a 1441 Caramado in black, and it's going to end up going like a really light OD. I'm going to paint this guy up for like use in the Italian or the Balkan theater, not so much DAC. And but these guys are pretty easy. Military models are relatively easy to paint if you're just painting them to a game level of painting. You could spend probably weeks going over this guy if you're really trying to make a display piece. But if you're really trying to make a display piece, this is not the Fiat you want. The Fiat you want is a 135 scale Tamiya kit, which is going to have 1,000 parts and etched brass and every single detail on it. These guys, they're awesome. They look great in my opinion. And they're pretty cost effective too. I mean, like $20 or so. But they are made to be game pieces. So they're not going to have the same level of detail you would find in a professional grade model kit, which I'm 100% cool with. But yeah, it's probably going to go with Death World Forest, I believe this is. That's a very close color to the green the Italians used. And then I've also, even though I promised I wouldn't do it, I did it. So there they are. I've already built one. Don't expect I'll be getting any more of that. I don't expect I will. I really, I wanted to check it out because me and my brother were such huge fans of Man War by Games Workshop. But Now, if I play a few games, like if I get 5 or 6 games in and I'm like, this game is amazing, then I'll probably pick up some of the second or third rate ships, especially if they're in plastic. I might pick up a couple of boxes of each, you know. Oh, but that's where we are. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this right now, and I'll be back.